We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on the Miami Dolphins defense versus the Washington Commanders. Defense overall kind of had a little bit of a weird day because they did struggle to get off the field, but clutched up in the red area a lot of times. So they were in like a bend but don't break mode, and still ended up holding their team to only 13 points, which I think is huge. Lots of players I think point out to, especially the young defensive tackle rookies making plays throughout the game. Jack Jones had a phenomenal game, with the game closing interception. He's out there doing his work. Jordan Brooks was phenomenal. Minka made some plays. I wouldn't say it was Minka's best game, but, he was still out there making some impactful plays. We got to see Chop Robinson back in action. He had a couple nice impact plays. I would still like to see more. I don't know why Judon is playing more than Chop Robinson still. It doesn't really make any sense to me. But we're going to break down all the little stuff. I think the Dolphins in zone, because they ran a lot of zone versus Buffalo, and they did a really good job, making life as difficult as possible for Josh Allen. I think against Mariota was a lot more willing to get the ball out very quickly and to, easier options, and I think that gave the Dolphins a little bit of trouble and allowed them just to stay on the field. But overall, I like the fight that the defense has played with, especially with, they're still a very young defense. They've had injuries a lot throughout the year, and they have stepped up a lot, and it's nice to see. This game was just overall kind of weird and frustrating, but that's what, these games are going to happen. You got to win the tough ones. Dolphins tightened up when they needed to. Their run defense in that red area was really, really good. Didn't give them anything, made them work for every inch, every yard. So when they needed to clutch up, they did. So first player, I'm going to have a Kenneth Grant video probably out tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to go through all of the plays, but I had to throw this one in here too, because this is one of Kenneth Grant's most play this season. Him sneaking in that backside A gap, not even his primary gap there. The quickness, the instincts to make that play. This is the type of play you saw in his college film where he would do this type of thing, hit that club arm over move, and just move that well for his size is so impressive. And I just feel Grant, before I even make that film breakdown, I've got to mention he has been improving over, I would say, the past 5 weeks. Has looked like a different player. He still has a lot of growth for sure to go through, but he looks like a different player. It looks like he definitely belongs, not having any of those negative reps where he's getting blown off the ball. His negative reps are nowhere near close to his negative reps from earlier in the season. They're just normal reps where a defensive tackle kind of loses. It happens, and they're also happening a lot less. And then he has those flashes, that play right there is about as good as it gets for a defensive tackle, and that's a 3rd-and-1 situation. Could have been huge. They don't get the stop on 4th-and-1. This is a play where, Minka would like it back. Minka's man-to-man on this fullback, but they kind of get his eyes peeking into the backfield, and he's a little bit late there. When you just have he's just a tick late. When you have he takes an extra gather step than he needs to. He needs to be playing man-to-man on his guy, and they just get that easy access, easy pick on the first down, because if Minka covers this guy up, they have a free guy coming on, free unblocked blitzer going into Mariota there. They probably would have stopped it. That would have been a huge momentum shift in the game. Off rip, getting that early stop probably would have, changed things pretty drastically for the Washington offense. They drive down the field. Dolphins do a really good job tightening up. Good job by a lot of players here. So players I want to point out, down in the red area, in the goal line, Commanders decide to go with this QB, pin pull power option going on with the lead as the running back. Players to point out: Chubb, Minka, Jordan Brooks, and Kenneth Grant. Look at Kenneth Grant here. 63 might cut him off. This has happened a couple times this season where the center or someone like that has kind of cut him off, and he's just powers through them. Look at him power through this and completely take away. And he probably could he should get a hold here because 63 holds him and kind of pulls him down with him and ends up going to the ground. This is just pure power on this side. And the fact that he spills this to the outside. So, these are force defenders out here. And then Kenneth Grant is spill, which means you are the opposite of a force defender. Your bounce wants them to bounce the outside. And this is how you kind of play run defense together. Chubb sets the edge here. And then Minka, who's left unblocked, sets the edge. And Brooks, look at him scrape over the top of this mess right here and beat 74. Good job dipping underneath and making that tackle. Doesn't even give him a shot. and you end up holding them to a field goal attempt because they do get a false start after this, which makes them kick a field goal. But just really, really good work in these areas. A lot of guys to be impressed with in that spot, particularly the guys that I mentioned. Some other good short, good stops versus the run. We get to see good work from the young guys. I wanted to point this out because we get Chubb Robinson making the tackle for loss with Jordan Phillips taking on, doing a really good job, and then Kenneth Grant even taking on a double team here, not getting pushed back, playing with better technique. Phillips dominant at the point of attack there as well, and then Chop, you leave him on a tight end, he's going to win that every single time, and he makes that tackle with line of scrimmage. I think Chop has been actually fairly solid in his run defense this season. I don't think that's been like that's why like I don't understand why Chop's not playing. Like there's some place like I think like maybe a lack of discipline as a rusher. Like he tries to go for the big hit every time. Like he's maybe getting out of his rush lane. He really wants to get that big sack. So I think that might be a reason, but like it's not enough a reason to keep him off the field when he's much more impactful than a guy like Judon, as you'll see later on. But here's a solid play. Commanders drive again, and they just do a good job holding them once they drive. Uh, Dolphins end up going in like a variation of like two match where they're matched up here playing two deep safety, and Tyrell Dotson ends up spying Mariota. So you only bring three with Chubb here, and I think that's Biggers and Chop. Chubb does a really good job because Chubb is like the only one here who really gets an isolated one-on-one. Like everyone else is kind of getting double teamed and chipped. Like Chop is getting chipped and singled. Zeke's getting double teamed. And then Chubb's able to get a nice one-on-one instantly with the tackle. So he's able to move off the spot. Coverage is good on the back end. Nothing's really open here, and Dotson's able to get a nice sack. This is a good mix-up from especially what from the Dolphins had been running. So on a third down, they were able to kind of catch them off guard, make Mariota not have like an easy, quick completion to work with, and you do a solid job there. Threw this play in here because I just thought it was ridiculous. I can't believe they called this pass interference on Jack Jones. In what world? Like this one had me so pissed. It's one of the worst PI calls I've ever seen called. This is a great play by Jack Jones and Trader. Trader is ready. Like I like seeing it. Like Dolphins are playing single high. He's the post field safety. These guys are matched up one-on-one on the outside. Usually in this spot, like you want to gain your depth, not get beat over the top. Trader's clearly anticipating this. Like he is ready to break on this like deep dig, watch it in film. If this ball is thrown right there like into his chest, Trader has either a chance for a pick or knock that ball out. So he throws it over. Jones doesn't even really grab Debo. He barely even touches him. And the ball is thrown, 5 yards over his head. So I don't know how that was called PI. That's crazy. Like that's a potential game changer because if that's not PI, then it's like third and long and they're in their own goal line. like that's now they end up driving. They get some big plays. This is where the Dolphins kind of struggled. Like when they went more zone and the Dolphins tried to bring some pressure. Like here they bring 5. It puts a lot of if you don't get that instant sack, like you're putting a lot of pressure on your secondary. Now Jordan Brooks is the read defender. They're reading him isolated. Dolphins are running like a variation of 2 read here. So Jordan Brooks ends up sitting on this, breaking on the under route, which is what he's supposed to do. And they hit this behind because with his depth, he's not going to be there. With Juju Brent's leverage, he's not going to make a play on this. If you just throw this to his timing, that's going to get completed every single time, and you get a nice completion down the field. And that's kind of where they were able to take advantage. Here they do a good job beating the screen. Like they end up scoring on a screen later in the game, but like this type of screen, like they didn't get fooled. You don't want to throw this to Jack Jones' side because Jack Jones, I understand why they did because they are trying to throw the fake screen. Jack Jones is ready to jump any screens, but good job by Minka and Trader here because they're trying to throw the fake screen. Even their number 78, their offensive lineman goes out like he's going to block on the screen, but they're really trying to throw the rail and the seam to either Ertz or the receiver, and Minka and Trader are just all over it. No chance. Now you force Mariota to basically end up throwing it away. Everything's taken away. They're really good play on second down. And they end up holding them to another field goal attempt right after that. This was a play where the Dolphins actually lost on a third and short. And it's actually another rep where I wanted to point out KG. Just watch KG. If everyone else does their job here, like would be such a dominant rep from KG where he instantly penetrates, beats his block. This was like the one Zeke Biggers play. Like I thought Zeke Biggers made a lot of solid plays in his limited snaps. This is the one area where like I think he will have his issues. Is sometimes like he is so tall, and if you have like these guys like that are down blocking you, attacking like your low hip like this, you play with such high pad level, you can get washed laterally. I think he does a good job of like penetrating or like controlling at the point of attack. But when guys get into his side, this is where like he can get moved out of the way and get displaced, and they almost get a touchdown here. Ashton Davis, thank God, trips him up, but it doesn't end up mattering because they score later. They actually do a really good job setting this up. They swing, like they motion Debo out like he's going to be a lead blocker with Zach Ertz here. This is really good design. And then Chris Rodriguez also goes out on like the swing pass, but Debo comes back in like on a jailbreak, and they get it perfectly. And Judon kind of really bites downhill to fly onto Rodriguez. Dotson also over pursues, and now it leaves like also the D line. Like the only one who really kind of recognizes it is Grant, but Grant ends up losing his balance. And even if he gains his balance there, he might be able to make a play on Debo. And it leaves Jordan Brooks like with no shot here because he's 1-on-3 with offensive linemen. And Debo now breaks it long. That's like the one time the Dolphins defense really got confused. And I mean, you got to give Commanders credit. That's a really good play call. Now this play, man, I feel like this is a safety in my book. One, this is why Chop Robinson should be playing. Their right tackle, Josh Connerly, who's a rookie, who's playing actually pretty solid for them, oversets. Chop is so quick. He's so much more explosive than any other pass rusher on the team. Like, look at this first step, and look at him knife to the inside here. They're supposed to work a stunt. This is supposed to be a stunt where he is the crash guy and Grant loops around, because you can tell by Grant looping late. That's what the play call was. But Chop is so explosive and fast, it doesn't matter. He just wins the inside right away. He doesn't need to crash. He just has a free lane. And we have to look at this inside the pocket. So the pocket is here, here. So if we go lined up, it ends up being like this area, the outside of the D there for the Dolphins. And you see where Mariota starts to throw it? He releases that like inside the pocket. Like he's right on the edge of it. So I understand like it's a tough call. But man, this could have been a safety. It would have been a huge play too. This is why, like, you know, even though there's some inconsistencies with Chop, it hasn't been perfect, but like let him get going. Give him these opportunities, because these plays are game changers. And if he's out there more often, he's going to get more chances to make plays like this. Now then you see then that was a huge stop for them. Then on the next play, this is where you get to see like a little more of a difficulty where like the Chop gets too wide in his pass rush lane. Now he's putting on a lot of pressure, because look at this. They end up showing pressure to this side. Commanders slide to the right, but everyone drops. Dotson drops, Willie Gay drops, and the Dolphins end up bringing Brooks, and I believe that's Ashton off the edge. Yeah, Ashton Davis, or not off the edge, but like blitzing from this side. And this puts a lot of like pressure on Chop, because look at this gap. There's no one in charge of this gap, no one in charge of this gap, no one in charge of this gap. And Chop's goal here is to maintain the outside. Like, he doesn't want Mariota to escape to the outside, but he gets a little too wide, and Mariota instantly takes off. And I don't think he was expecting that, because he's getting chipped here. And I feel like he's trying to work around here and then work back to the inside late. But Mariota instantly takes off because of the unblocked pressure, and then he kind of plays Willie Gay, sets up his block really well out in space, and gets a huge run. This could have been a potential game-losing play, and it almost didn't work out, but it also puts a lot on Chop's plate and these rushers' plates. Like, they have to get really quick pressure, and Mariota just makes a great play because no one is here to make this. And once he escapes here, like, I mean, it would have been nice to see Willie Gay come downhill and make that tackle, but it doesn't work out, and he gets a 40-yard gain in that spot. So, like, there's a couple different problems, I think, with, like, execution, but I also don't love necessarily the play call because of the pressure it puts on that side of the defense to really make that play. So that one that almost bites them, but they do end up coming up clutch down in the red area. Good job here, getting a nice run stop. Zeke Biggers controlling his own at the point of attack. Like I'm saying, when it's more of a base block one-on-one, guy trying to move him vertically, or if he's trying to penetrate, much more difficult to move a guy like Zeke. He's got that really good length. He peaks this primary gap once he sees, he's going to commit here. This running back to his secondary. He's able to shed, come off, make that play. Good job as well from Tyrell Dodson, Kenneth Grant getting over there. They stopped that run. Another play. Now this one at the 1 yard line. Huge stop, 3rd and goal. really solid job. Like, they actually kind of lose a little bit. Like, Sealer loses his balance, ends up on the ground. But who does a great job is Dotson. This is a really good play from Dotson because Dotson takes on the 6 lineman unblocked. So Dotson throws his body but doesn't get moved back. If he gets displaced here, that could change everything. Then it allows Jordan Brooks and Ashton Davis to fill up beautifully. And then Chubb also gets a one-on-one with a tight end, and they just completely blow this play up. Even though the middle of this line kind of ends up on the ground, which is fine. Like, it's fine to end up on the ground as long as, like, you're taking away that low area. You can't allow them to drive through, and then everyone else can finish up top, which ends up happening. It ends up working out pretty nicely for them. They get that stop. Then the Commanders try to hit their bread and butter, where they have Zach Ertz running out, and they basically runs an angle route, but he slips. Ashton Davis ends up getting one-on-one with him. He actually ends up still having pretty good coverage. Even I think if he didn't slip, he would have been in a decent spot. Everything else is covered up pretty nicely. Jordan Brooks takes this away. This is taken away. Good job on this side of the field. Like, if they wanted to they tried to throw this rub route. This was taken. Jack Jones and Marshall covering that up pretty nicely. Good job. Huge potential stop. And then now this one. This is one where the Dolphins just get caught. They bring the pressure. They blitz Jordan Brooks. They kind of knife everyone this way and then bring Jordan Brooks. They just pick it up nicely. Marcus Mariota has ample time. And then when you do this, like, they drop Chubb into coverage. Tyrell Dotson kind of has to replace and get over here to replace Brooks. And they end up rotating to a cover 2. These guys have to gain depth. They just end up getting into the perfect part of the field of what the Dolphins were running. And since they don't get a quick pressure, Debo just ends up wide open. So they just kind of had like the exact play call, and they executed really nicely. And the Dolphins were able to get a nice pressure there on their blitz. Like I'm saying, when the Dolphins brought blitz and they ran zone, the Commanders did a really good job of kind of taking that apart. And they get a big play there. That was almost a potential game loser. Here's one where, like, Minka's been really good in man coverage this season. He just gets got here. Poor eye discipline. Once this guy breaks to the inside, Minka eyes to the inside, ready to, take that away. Third down, gets over aggressive, and they get him on the zig. He, pumps the brakes. Really good job sinking his hips here, getting to the outside, and this was almost the game there because they get in the edge of field goal range. Fortunately, the Dolphins get some good stuff here. They bring the blitzer off the edge. Minka almost gets a huge sack on Mariota. He gets rid of it. And then Marshall, big play from Jason Marshall. So at this point, Juju Brent's out of the game. So Jason Marshall is playing outside corner, where he should be playing man-to-man outside corner. Does a great job on the boundary here. Really, really good work. Mirror match. Almost ends up, coming away with the pick. He reads it so well. Huge stop, because any yards gained in this situation would be absolutely game-changing for the Commanders, because they would probably make a field goal. That was a little bit closer than that, but yeah, huge stop. Good blitz there too. I like blitzing and going man-to-man, because it makes life a little more difficult, especially for what the Commanders were successful with in this game. Here they go blitz again. They go man-to-man. They end up disguising some stuff, like very good work, because like this is almost, if Mariota looked to this side, this could have been dangerous, because they bring Ashton Davis. Jordan, like, Mariota doesn't look here, so it doesn't matter, but like this could have been such an easy completion to Zach Ertz, especially because they're playing, I think it's Melifonwu playing man-to-man from this depth, which is a very difficult ask. And they could throw a quick glance here if Jordan Brooks isn't in this lane, but they end up taking stuff away. This is pretty much all taken away. I guess they could throw this to McCaffrey, but that might not even get completed if it isn't. It's only going to go for like 2 yards. They throw the deep bomb, and Minka's in coverage, so Minka, makes up for it after that big blunder. He gets a nice blitz QB hit, and then also gets the stop. They throw the low percentage deep ball, and they end up missing the field goal. Dolphins now in overtime and first play of the game, or first play of overtime. What do they get? They are looking over here initially. Like, actually, Mariota kind of peeks off to this side, sees the safety come down. Once he sees that, I think he comes off of Zach Ertz, because I think he wants to throw to Zach Ertz. Then he comes off this, looks over here, sees that Marshall kind of has this taken away initially. He kind of separates late, but Mariota's already come back off of it. Finds Zach Ertz, sees that the safety's gained depth. Now he thinks he can go there. Chubb now gets a pressure, so Mariota kind of has to panic, get rid of it, and Jack Jones undercuts it. This is the story of Jack Jones, man. Like, very up and down player, but man, this was an up game from him, and he will make those big plays when they matter. The last 2 weeks, forcing turnovers. That's the story of his career. He'll give up the big play, but he will also create the big play, and he made it here when it mattered most. So shout out Jack Jones. We'll probably have an individual breakdown on him at some point this week. That's basically the plan. They have a lot of rookies in the plans. I got Kenneth Grant, Zeke Biggers, Jonah. I plan to do this week. I haven't done Jonah in a while, and I thought he was better in this game. Jack Jones, I plan to do this week, and then next week during bye week, I'm spreading out some videos. I'll do some more breakdowns that week. Maybe going over the whole year for certain players that we haven't done in a while. Uh, do some draft stuff as well. Why not? But yeah, if you guys really do like, comment, subscribe,